Hi everyone, welcome back. In case you're new here, we talk about tips and tricks that will make your food photography stand out. My name is Anja Burgar, I'm a food photographer, and today I'm gonna do something very embarrassing. I'm gonna show you my prop storage. This is so embarrassing because it's a huge mess, and I usually try to clean up the prop storage at least every other month, but this time it's been over 6 months and it's a disaster. It's actually happened to me the second time after the holidays when we get so many gifts, which means a lot of stuff, and I have nowhere to put it. And I've noticed that it starts to feel very heavy, and having too many things makes our home feel less enjoyable. So basically, I've been on a huge decluttering spree this month, and I also want to transfer this to my prop collection. You know, when it's not all in its place, or when you have props that you don't actually use, they're taking precious space and it just gets extremely annoying. So first, let me introduce you to my workspace. I'm actually still working from my living/dining room, and sometimes I even use my son's room. I am searching for a studio space, but in the meantime, I just have to make this home situation work. So a while ago, I bought this dresser from IKEA, and I'm using it as a storage, as my main storage for my props. This is where I keep the props that I use the most often, so they are basically on hand when I shoot here in the dining room. Well, at least it should be. You'll see in just a minute that it's not like that anymore. But basically I have a second storage under my bed, so the entire space under the bed is taken by my props, and I actually feel like half of my house is just filled with props and gear. We don't really have that many personal things when I compare it with all the things for my photography business, which is bizarre, I know. So I think that when I actually find a studio place, we're gonna have so much empty space, we won't know what to do with it. Okay, so basically today I will take you on a decluttering tour, organization tool of my props. I have done some decluttering and organization under the bed already to make some space for the props that I currently have in here, and I don't really use that often. So I'm gonna go through all these drawers and show you how I store the props and organize them. I'll give you some tips and ideas along the way, and I just basically will show you what I have from the props, what I like to buy, what I avoid, and so on. Now I have a donation box ready for anything I'm not actually using and I want to pass it on to someone else who use it in case I find something like that. And then I have another large box, which is the box for things I'm not using very often. I'll actually move those to my underbed storage. And basically when I cleaned the underbed storage, I already found a huge pile of things I don't actually use anymore, and I will be donating those. Let me jump in real quickly. This video turned out to be very long, so today we're gonna go through the first part. Okay, so let's look what I actually have in these drawers. It's really embarrassing, but I just want to show you that it's possible to organize it in a very quick way. You just need to kind of quickly know which things you're using the most, which ones you are not, which ones you actually don't ever use. So let's look at the drawers. Okay, so this is supposed to be a cutlery drawer, and it's just full of things. I'll take everything out later on, and I'll go through what I use the most and just leave the most used things in here, because this takes me so much time to find anything when I'm actually working. And then this is the drawer where I usually keep smaller bowls, pinch bowls, glassware, and all these kinds of smaller props. Next we have the drawer, the plate drawer. I mostly use plates. I have some larger bowls. Okay, and then here was supposed to be the drawer with larger items such as trays, serving trays, or kind of chopping boards and all this kinds of stuff. Different decorations such as cord, candles, and this kind of stuff. And it, as you can see, it also has so much things you can't really see anything. So I want to organize that too. And then here in the bottom I have fabric, anything fabric, and as you can see there are so many things, and I don't always take the time to fold them together nicely, so that's why it's kind of just tucked in like this. So what I'll do is go drawer by drawer. I'll take stuff out, place it on the table so I can see everything, and I'll go through each piece separately and decide whether I want to keep it here or do I want to move it to the under bed storage or do I want to donate it. Okay, so there are so many things. So first of all, I'm just gonna remove the trash, just so it looks a little bit better. So yeah, trash also comes into this drawer, and then I'll just go through each piece and decide whether I want to keep it or not. So I use this one pretty regularly, and also kind of this kinds of spoons. I really like to use it in my more rustic style, so I'm gonna want to keep those. Then I have a bunch of larger wooden props, and I don't use them very often. It's more of a salad, for salads or some other savory dishes. I don't use them as often, so I want to move those to the underbed storage. I have this spoon that is really beautiful, but I also don't use it as often, so this is also gonna go under the bed. I have a bunch of these just for holding different kinds of stuff on the set. I usually have it in the bag, but I will try to find more convenient thing to store them in, so I'll place them on another separate pile. Then I have this spoon. I also like it. I'm gonna keep it. I don't think I use it as often, but I want to use it more often, so that's why I'm gonna keep it in this pile. Then just random stuff. This is gonna go to my food props section, which is not gonna be in this drawer. Another spoon I like to use. Then I have two larger knives. I also like to use those. I want to keep those in the drawer. Then I have some straws, and I don't really use straws that often. I'm probably gonna find more when I go through the drawer, but I'm gonna place those under the bed. So here I have a bunch of chopsticks. I like the chopsticks. I don't shoot a lot of Asian food, but I like both of these. So I have like a brighter and darker option. So I'm just gonna move those under bed as well. This is from a pestle and mortar. I don't use it as often. It's gonna go under the bed. Then I have a bunch of cardboards that I use when I shoot sandwiches and burgers, but honestly, I don't even know that they're here, and whenever I shoot, I'm just gonna go and grab a new cardboard, so I'm gonna throw them away. Then what I found is this. This is really incredibly embarrassing. These are eyes that I bought for a Halloween shoot, but I didn't actually use them, so my son plays with them. There were kind of 20, I think, in the pack. I might use them in the future, so they're gonna go not under the bed, but I actually have another storage in my attic that's kind of more dedicated to the seasonal stuff, so holiday stuff, Christmas, Halloween, and this kind of stuff, and I'm gonna put it there, so this is gonna go on another pile. Then I have this utensil that's basically for cutting eggs. I like to use it to cut not only eggs, but I don't usually cut eggs for styling with this one, but I like to use it for cutting strawberries into nice slices. So strawberries coming into season in a couple of months. Not yet, so in a couple of months I think I'm gonna go through the props again. So right now I'm gonna place it under the bed. have a couple of brushes. So I like this one because it's nice, so you can use it as a prop, but I can also use it to brush things on. So I like this one because it's a little bit more narrow. So when I'm kind of doing something, applying more on a surface, I like to use this one when it's a larger surface. So when it's a smaller surface, I use this one to kind of apply oil, water, or something else onto the food. So I actually use all three, and I'm gonna keep those, but they're gonna go, this one is gonna go under props, and this one is gonna go under utensils. So I'll try to separate those. Let's make some space. And this is basically the styling kit. So kind of, you have noticed that my styling kit has kind of mixed with my cutlery in the last 6 months. I don't know how that happened, but it happened. So I'm gonna try to fix that. We've finally come to cutlery. I have a bunch of spoons, so I'm gonna try and find out the ones that I use the most. Like right now, I should have gone to the store and buy a cutlery organizer. I haven't done that, so I'm just gonna try and pile it up, and I'm gonna go to the store later on and buy a cutlery organizer to place it in the drawer, and then separate and organize everything really nicely. So when I buy smaller spoons, I make sure they're not too shiny. Like this one is shiny, but I still use it sometimes. But most of the other ones are pretty worn off. Some are more worn off, some are less, so it depends on the project. I like to have different options. And I also like to have like really, really small ones. Like this one is probably around 10 centimeters. Not sure how that's probably 4 inches or something like that. The other ones are a little bit larger. These are pretty much the same size, and the larger size, like that. Yeah. Basically smaller. The smaller, the better. Then I have this one. It's also really nice. I don't know if you can see it. Really like this one. It has a really nice old vintage pattern. Then I also have some things in gold in case I'm doing something a little bit more modern. Although I have 2 different kinds of gold. I have these 2. And this one is a little bit more yellowish, so it doesn't go with everything. It sometimes is a little bit too much. I'm gonna still keep it because I really like the shape of it. It has a really nice thin handle. It looks very modern. So I'm gonna keep it, and I'm gonna place it under the bed. And then this other one, it's a whole set. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep one of each here in this drawer so I can remember that I have them, but I don't actually need the whole set because I often don't do the entire sets, and even if I do, I'm gonna go there and pick it up. Otherwise, it's just gonna get full really quickly. So I'm just gonna keep the small fork, small spoon. I have the large set as well, so the large fork, large spoon, and there should be knives as well. So my advice to you, if you're also shooting in a space where you don't have a lot of storage, I would keep the most used props very close to you, and then the less you use them, the further from you they can be. Like for me, I keep the holiday things in the attic because I don't have space anywhere else. Or for example, if you have a large shelf storage, then you could place the props that you use the most often in the front, and the ones that you don't more in towards the back. With the plates, you'll see I'll probably do the same. Like if I have a set of plates, I will probably keep just one in here and then move the other ones under the bed, so I know that I have them. I remember that I have more of the same ones, but it doesn't take the whole drawer or the whole shelf. So if you have shelves, you could place one of each in front, and then in the back you could have copies, basically copies of those in the front, so that you have the visuals immediately when you see it. You don't have to kind of go back and forth through the storage to find that one piece. You have all of them stacked, and then when you find the right one, you go in the back and find them. I just think it's easier not to forget about props that you have in this way. So I found some spoons that I got somewhere, not sure, they're really shiny, not very nice looking, very generic. But I do sometimes shoot very generic food, so I don't actually want to throw it away or donate it, so I'll keep it, but under the bed. I have also one for ice cream. It's looking really nice, but I always forget about it. I don't shoot ice cream that often. I'm gonna place it under the bed. Then I also have some black forks that are really beautiful, but I don't use them very often. This is very, very modern. I don't shoot very modern so much, but I like them. I'm gonna keep one here so I can remember I have them, and I'm gonna place others in under the bed. I also have a bunch of cocktail picks, and I have two clips that I also use sometimes in cocktails. I don't really think it's really nice to have them next to the cutlery. It gets all mixed up. It's really hard to find them. It's really hard to find pairs. So I'll find a cup that I don't use, or just a separate cup, and I'm gonna place them inside a cup. I also clip those on the sides of the cup. Then I have a small ladle. I actually have one in the kitchen that I use, and it's the same one. I just like it because it's vintage. It looks really nice. So I'm gonna place it under the bed. I don't actually use it very often. It's gonna go under the bed. And then this thing here, this is kind of to pour oil or vinegar or something. I have some dark bottles, and I usually just place it in to make it look like it's meant to be there, but I use those bottles as a vase or something else as well, so that's why I keep it here. I haven't found a proper space to keep it elsewhere, so I'm gonna keep it here just because I know it's here. Otherwise I'm gonna be searching for it the next time. Then I have this big spoon as well. I don't use it all that often. I don't really create large plates as much, but I like it. It has a really nice vintage end here. So it's gonna go under the bed. So again here I have some large forks. I usually use these ones that are looking a little bit older than this one. They are a little bit more brighter silver, but they're still made. They're not very shiny, so that's what I like about them. But I don't think I really need all of this here. I will keep the old ones, and I'll just use one of these silver ones just so I can remember that I have them, and I'll put the rest in under the bed. And then as far as the other ones go, I like that they have different kinds of handle options, so I'm gonna keep all of this here. And I have these tweezers here. They're part of my styling kit, so they're gonna go here. And I also have a small scissors. These are not meant to cut things, but they're kind of a prop to place on the set, so I'm gonna keep it here. Okay, then I found these two really nice small golden spoons. I really like them. They're like really extremely tiny. So I use this often, and I'm gonna keep them. And I also have this really nice forks. I found them on the flea market, and it's really hard to find forks so small. This is like really extra small, so these are very precious for me, and I use them very often. Keep them. Same for this. These are also smaller in size. Okay, if I compare these two, these are much smaller. I also use them very often. I'm gonna keep those as well. I have 6 of them. So maybe I'm gonna keep just 4 and I'll place 2 under the bed. I don't often use 6. Really? And then I'm left with knives. So these are a little bit different. Like I can look at this, I can see that this one is a little bit newer. It doesn't have a nice handle like this, but I'm still gonna keep them. Like I said, I sometimes take photos of something that's a little bit more contemporary, so I'm gonna keep that, but I don't want to keep it with my main in my main storage. Whereas I have these knives, they all have a handle a little bit different. I don't actually have pairs. Don't think neither of those is the same. Maybe these two. And I'm gonna keep those. So I have the option to choose whether to go a little bit more rustic, like this is really rusted, and then I have this one that's more square, so I'm gonna keep those as well. So then, as you can see, I'm left with just some T-pins here inside. I'm gonna collect those and place them back in their box, and clean the drawer, then place everything back. Okay, so let me walk you through how I quickly organize it without the cutlery separator. I found these really nice boxes that I get my fruits in. So I have one, and I actually placed the cocktail picks inside. I didn't use a cup or a glass. And then I chose a few of these clips. I actually have so many more. I found so many in the drawer, but I don't really need that many. And then I have the forks here in between the two kind of boxes. I placed the spoons and fork knives together just because it's easier to separate those two than forks and spoons. So I think this will work for now until I get the separator. And then I have the wooden kind of spoons, knives, measuring cups, and these kinds of props here in the front. I think I use the wooden ones and the spoons the most, so they're kind of here in the front, a little bit more handy, and then the other things are more in the back. Maybe I could swap this too, because I don't use cocktail picks as often as I do the clips. So this would be how I quickly edit this drawer. I really hope you enjoyed this first part of my organization and decluttering prop video. If you did, I'd love you to subscribe and hit the bell so you can see all the future videos, including the second part of the video that's coming very soon.